Yeah. What's up, y'all? Nas here, coming at you with another discussion with my bros, and you already know we're talking about something that I guess is kind of impactful towards all of us because we all touched the game at one point, even though, some of us played it a lot longer than others. Joe with his multiple 100 hours in the game. Today we're going to talk about Multiversus and all the news that came out about it. And it's basically, for the people that don't know, the uninitiated folks, basically what we're talking about is how the game is going offline for bare minimum a year. They said around 2024 is when it will be coming back, but we don't know what state it's going to be when it comes back. We don't know what they're doing in terms of what they're adding or changing. All we've known is they said they're going to improve some things, and that's what we're here to talk about. So I guess since Joe just recently looked at a video about it, Joe, tell us your opinion. You're technically the most experienced one here.
Shit, brother. I'm going first. God damn it.
Yeah, I
All
can't throw
right.
JD first every time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Get to
All
work.
right, man. What's up, y'all? So, first of all, so I sort of like kind of woke up to this shit. Nas kind of hit us up in a little group chat saying that he wanted to record a video. You know, me being dumb sometimes, I said, yeah, not even knowing what we was talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I end up watching a video, and come to find out that they're closing the game down, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's interesting. Okay. So now listen. So just like you said, I definitely played the game a lot longer and a lot more than them. I'm very upset, highly upset, because I feel like this game will never make a comeback, to be honest with you. I'm not excited no more. I don't ever want to touch it again. And I don't, even if it closes down and comes back fucking crazy like OD, it's not gonna hit the same. And the reason why I say that is I was playing the game, right? At first I was top 200 Harley Quinn, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of those, right? Yeah, so I was a top 200 Harley Quinn main, right? Made a couple videos on her. I guess he could drop a screenshot of them if he wants or something like that. But then Rick came out, and now I played with Rick or whatever, and I went OD with him. I ended up becoming one of the best Ricks on the game, top 20 Rick. He put up the stats if he wants. Yeah, so that goes to show that I really was enjoying the game and I was playing it. Now, I believe before the game came out, I was talking to Nas and JD about it. I was saying that this potentially has the potential to be one of the greatest fighting games, if they go about it right. And let's just say they didn't go about it right at all.
Something like that.
So how I was feeling, right, is I feel like all I really cared about was them fixing the servers, all right? Because that shit was terrible, like really awful. But they didn't do that. Guess what they decided to do? They kept pushing out new characters, and every time they pushed out a new character, it was broken than the next. It was broken. Now I feel like they were fishing for clout. Because I feel like they didn't really. I didn't really feel like. I didn't really feel like they really cared about their players, because why drop a new character for him to be broken, right? And then you drop a patch that nerfs the shit off the character. Why not just drop a balanced character to add on to the game's lifespan and everybody enjoy it? So honestly, they were bringing out broken characters that brought more people to the game because people were shit. And it was a cartoon game or whatever you want to call it, and people were just enjoying playing with broken characters. And I feel like that's not enough to keep a game going. You know what I mean? So yeah, I really feel like they were fishing for clout. Now this thing where they decided they're gonna take the game down. Now it is a good thing that you can still play it offline. I think that's a great idea. But I feel like they took too long to do this right here, to where their player base is not going to survive and it's not going to come back. This is not Attack on Titan where they could just do some bullshit like this and keep their player base.
Yes, that is Attack on Titan.
Damn.
Half of their player base was already gone. And just like JD mentioned, only the pro players were left. There's no casual players left. And I mean, I'm not a casual player, but still though,
Yeah,
I
damn.
just feel like it's really disappointing. I feel like every fighting game that I really get into and really want to make content on, is something keeping me from it, and it's really upsetting, and it's really breaking my heart because same things happening with DNF Door right now. But
And ironically, that's getting an update. I, some of that stuff is surprising. Some of it I don't agree with, because like when you were like saying that they're fishing for clout, I kind of get what you're saying, because you know I see the model of, oh hey, you release a character, the character is broken, you're gonna adjust them in the next patch, and it's like, okay, why not just release a balanced character? I see the mindset with that, and I see like what you're going for with it, but I'm like, I don't feel like they were intentionally making all the characters broken. Some were like just the like OD annoying. Then some were like legitimately broken with some of the shit that they did. And then you're right, the next patch they had to nerf them. Like I said, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm like, you release a DLC character no matter what. In the next patch, you're gonna have to change them. Now, the level that you're changing them is all about how they are and how you feel, or the community is telling you they feel about it. Because, you know, it's common in fighting games nowadays for niggas to scream about a nigga being broken when they first come out. Now, sometimes that's a fair criticism and it's valid, because sometimes they are fucking broken. Sometimes though, niggas just scream that because the character's annoying. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I'm saying, you know, sometimes they scream that and then they nerf the shit out of them, and now they made a character that actually wasn't broken. They were just like annoying in most people's hands. The character overall is like, I'm gonna say above average, and now they just made an above average character below average, and now everybody's gonna be like, see, this is why he's trash. It's like, no, y'all made the character worse than what they were. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, because some of the characters were broken and some were annoying as shit.
Right. So I'm gonna follow up on that, because I definitely am torn between the two, but I think I could kind of back up why I really felt like they were fishing for clout. So, for example, right? Let's see, who was the first DLC character that they dropped? I don't quite remember.
Wasn't it Morty?
Was it Morty?
Was it? Hold on.
Okay.
You go ahead and go on the tangent. I'll look it up while you do that.
Yeah, okay, so look, listen, it doesn't really matter who drops first, but look, listen, if you look at the stats, right, when a new character would come out, man, he was flooded he or she was flooded everywhere on YouTube, right? Everybody and their mamas, grandma, mama, cousin, auntie, everybody was using that character, right? Then the moment they would drop the patch and nerf them, the people that weren't even good, they were just using a character that was broken, they stopped playing them. And you can look at the stats. Like after when a character would drop, right, and was literally new, and just like you said, they don't always got to be broken, but they felt like it though. So it's not really, okay, so let me rephrase this. So it's not really about the characters being broken, but I really felt like they were fishing for clout, because again, like I said, if you look at the stats, a new character would be coming out, everybody would play them, then a patch would come out and they would nerf the character, and then the play rate for that character would drop drastically. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? And then a new character would come out,
and
I just felt like it was a cycle. Like it just felt like people weren't really playing who they wanted to play. They just were playing new characters because they would drop OD.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's a multiverse issue. I feel like that's an FGC issue, because in my opinion, that's every fighting game. It's like in fighters, when fucking Red Gogeta drops, they gonna throw him on the team. Except in that game, it's 3 characters instead of in this game, where you're playing mostly 1v1, so you're only gonna run into one person. Me, who play duos, I gotta run into that character plus a new person, or somebody running double of that character if they do that. So I don't feel like that's a multiverse issue, because you're right. People would do that, then the patch would come out, nerf the character, and now you're gonna either get the people playing the character because they genuinely like the character, or you're gonna get the people that are just playing the character because he used to be broken and they're still seeing how useful he is, and now they're gonna realize that he's not on that same level that he was. But I don't feel like that's a multiverse thing. I see what you're saying, it's a multiverse cycle, but that's just how DLCs work, in my opinion. Like, JD can speak his mind on it because I know he's played a lot more fighting games and seen a lot more of the growth in what they do in them in terms of the stuff that they release. But I just feel like that's a fighting game issue, not a multiverse issue.
I mean, it is, but I feel like that they should have went about their fighting game in a different route, like, because their game wasn't like your normal fighting game. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, but
Like,
it's like Smash Bros. Comparatively, but it's still the same as Smash Bros. You got like when Sora came out, Smash Bros. Like people weren't gonna play Sora. Like when what's the Tekken character? Kazuya. When Kazuya came out in Smash, you got like people weren't gonna play Kazuya. It's different because you and me didn't really play Smash when those characters are coming out. But I see it being the same way. In Smash, you playing Kazuya, you gonna play Kazuya until they nerf him or adjust him or do what they're gonna do to him. But I feel like that's just how DLCs nowadays are. The new
Yeah, that's
character
just
comes
how
out.
DLC and fighting games are in general.
Yeah,
I
that's,
mean, like,
that's how I felt at least.
like that's how it was in Mortal Kombat, Tekken. I mean, you saw it in Fighters. Anytime a new DLC came out, everybody played the DLC character,
Yeah.
and then they dropped them after.
Yeah, it was like perfect.
Unless they really liked them.
Yeah, it was like perfect example like Lab Coat. People played Lab Coat when she came out because she was broken. They nerfed her. She's still one of the top in the game, but she's not anywhere as crazy as what she used to be. But people still play her because she's one of the top characters in the game. They nerfed and changed it, and now the people that are only playing the like top tiers, they might still use it because she's still top tier. But if she dropped down to like mid or lower tier, people wouldn't play her anymore. It's the same thing you're speaking about, but like I said, I just felt like that wasn't a multiverse thing because it's not like Multiverse had this happen and it's the only game that's happened. This happened in other games.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
But I do agree that like the cycle for their DLC is weird because, like you said, they release normally either really good characters to the point where the new character can't even be allowed in tournaments and shit. Like, you know that your character is probably a little too unbalanced when they're banning your character from tournaments at the start, which I know that is the thing that they do, but it doesn't happen for every character. It just happens because normally the newer character is a lot more unbalanced compared to the rest of the roster, because normally they either add some new shit or they give them really good buttons or they do something to give him an advantage, and then they're like, okay, we gotta tone this down now, so everybody either stops complaining, or if the character's just right, then they just leave it alone and change up a little stuff that doesn't change them up too much. But I'm just one more thing too. I'm really starting to get annoyed about how these newer games are starting to go about things, and I think it's sort of like a safety mechanism that they're doing or whatever. Like, they're releasing games and saying it's in beta, you know, like, or open beta, closed beta, whatever you want to say. But like, time goes on, and like, it feels like we're not making no progress. Like, it feels like the game shouldn't be in beta no more. Like, and that's sort of where I was getting irritated with Multiverse, because I feel like they weren't pushing out content fast enough. Like, of course, with some games, like, I don't know, they'll drop the DLC and then you wait a couple months for this and that. But I mean, dude, we got the game and we were getting new characters and not even like getting enough new maps. We weren't getting really like cool shit in the battle pass or anything like that. It took a while for us to even get new game modes, and it took forever for us to even get a ranked game mode, you know? So I feel like that really like hurts games, because of course we get a game like I don't know, for example, let's say Destiny, or I don't know, or since we're talking about fighting games, let's talk about Mortal Kombat, for example, right? Yeah.
We'll get that game, and like, of course we may know that the game isn't finished. I mean, we're always getting games that aren't finished, but at least we had content. Like with Mortal Kombat 11, bro, we had a base roster or whatever. Of course they released DLCs, but we already had enough content to keep the game going. We had an amazing story mode. Then we had the crypt where you could go in there, and then there was secret paths and all that. Like, I feel like shit like that is cool. I feel like just games are just starting to like just drop shit not even half polished anymore. We're getting about 10% in the game.
I mean, yeah,
and they expect their game to thrive off that.
I
And I don't
mean,
understand.
yeah, because there are games like that do it. Like other games come out, and then they drop additional modes and stuff in it. But with that, we'll get back to the multiverse side of that because it was something I want to say. I feel like with that argument though, with the fighting game stuff, it's like okay, what do you want? Because one thing, if they're gonna put that stuff in at launch, then obviously it's gonna take more time. Meaning the game probably isn't gonna come out when they want it to. If they have to put all those modes and all that stuff in before the game comes out to make it more complete. So that obviously means you gotta push back timings and stuff, which means that you either just gotta reveal the game later or you're just gonna go a lot longer without the game actually being out. But then when you do that, now you're also getting in the argument of, yeah, the game has more stuff at launch, but you're getting less for the future. And we are in an era now where your game has to have stuff going on past its launch. Like, even like the best stuff, like Mortal Kombat, right? Mortal Kombat comes out, like you said, a story, it got towers, it got the crypt, it got online, it got stuff going on. Yeah, it got stuff going on to where even if you don't play online, you have other stuff to do. But Mortal Kombat is part of one of the big fighting game 3 of Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and Street Fighter, where that game can come out with a whole bunch of stuff at launch and still get support from its developers in the future. We're in an age right now where we're getting a lot of first-time fighting games or fighting games by new developers that haven't done fighting games before. So it's like, okay, you're asking these new guys to come in, right? And you're asking them to go make a game for the first time trying to make this formula. And yeah, you know the general structure. If you want to make a fighting game, come at it with a story, come at it with online, and come at it with maybe some additional stuff to keep people occupied if they don't want to play online or if they're trying to do something different. It's like, yeah, you know, that's the formula, that's the stuff you got to do. But what's the thing that people care about the most? What is the bare essentials you need? It's normally story, normally online, and normally a way of playing with your friends. That's mainly it. And like I said, you already are getting big big expansions to the game afterwards in terms of DLCs and stuff like that. If you put all that in the base game, now there's going to be less in the future. So what happens if Mortal Kombat 11 came out and they added, let's say, 50% of the stuff that they had in DLCs at the start of the game? Yeah, it's going to be hype when you're playing it for the first time, but a couple months down the road, couple years down the road, okay, you've just put all that DLC that could have came out later and had to start, meaning later on your game's not going to be as poppin'. You know, games go to Evo because they actively have stuff going on in them, or they're getting changes and it's a big enough fighting game to where people care about it. So if you take that support that would be planned out later and put it in earlier, you're going to have less longevity update wise later. It's like with fighters. If you take the last couple of additions and balance patches and stuff and put it in the game earlier, you're not going to get it later. So people are going to care about it less because the game hasn't changed from very much the last time it updated. Like, I get what you're saying,
Right.
More complete games is good, and I'm not saying it's not a thing that we should be striving for and asking for, but to just be like, I want to take the formula of release game, add stuff later, I think it needs to
and
be
you know what? I
bit
completely
temporary.
agree with you. And I guess the main problem that I'm really upset about, and I'm just gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let JD talk because I know he has some things that he wants to talk about too. I guess the thing that I'm really upset about is I feel like they should have, like, not saying that they didn't listen to their fans, but I think that they should have listened to their fans a little bit more before they start. Well, I guess every game, no matter what it is, they end up losing a small amount of their player base, right? It's just natural. I mean, people, especially with our attention spans, I mean, we get bored quick most of the time. So that's completely fine. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have lost their player base at all. I'm just saying they shouldn't have lost as many people as they should have. And I just feel like once they seen their player base drop a little bit, I feel like they should have put all their time in trying to really figure out how to fix the servers instead of pushing out new characters as fast as they did. I felt like we were getting new characters really fast, but the main problems that could have kept the game going should have been prioritized over DLCs, in my opinion. And I feel like this little thing that they're doing where they're shutting the game down and they're going to bring it back up, I feel like they should have did this a lot sooner than what they're doing now, because now it's a fat chance that not even the pros may return, because eventually the pros get tired too. If they see they're fighting for a game that's not, really doing anything for them or not coming back, they eventually will quit. Like what's it called? For DNF Duel, for example, what's his name? Sonic Soul. I don't know if y'all know who Sonic Soul is. Y'all know Sonic Soul?
I think I've heard his name, but I don't know him like that.
Okay, so Sonic Soul, he's a pretty well known. He's well known for DNF Duel, right? He's sort of the one that like kind of kept me playing DNF Duel, but he just realized that the game is in a bad state right now, and they may not regain their player base. And he was a pro. He was playing in tournaments and everything, but he's choosing to now go to Street Fighter 6 because they're doing well with their games and they got a big community and player base. But I guess you're right, we got new people coming in, so we got to cut them slack. But I mean, come on, they made the game, and it's about making smart decisions. I know if I see me making a game and the player base is dropping, I'm gonna do everything I can to fix that. And I feel like that's not what they were doing. I felt like they kept pushing out content and DLC characters thinking it would make people keep playing the game, but weren't really fixing the problems that were making people stop in the first place. And that's what I'm upset about.
I mean, yeah, and before I'll let JD talk, I'll just real quickly, because I was gonna say this anyway, but then you brought it back up, so I might as well go ahead and say this now. I see what you're saying, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, you would have wanted them to not drop DLCs and fix the stuff, and you would have liked if they were going to turn the game off and fix stuff, they were going to do this earlier. My question is, if they did this earlier, you might have been not feeling this way because the game, in your opinion, might not have been in the state where it needed to do that. Because the thing is, and you said this earlier, the game came out in a beta. We all knew that the game was in beta in July when we all were playing it online for the very first time and playing it against other people, and not ranked, but just online matches, I guess. And everybody knew it was a beta, and everybody knew that, okay, stuff about this is going to change, but it's in beta right now, so you cut it some slack. The thing is, I think that everybody forgot was the game is still in beta. The game never technically came out of beta until now when they're turning the game off. So people looked at the game like the game is out, and if they need to change stuff, they need to be doing it now. But the way I'm looking at this is the game was in beta. They were taking notes on stuff and keeping track of stuff that people were complaining about, because they knew that people were complaining about netcode. They knew that there were things that they probably were going to have to change about the netcode. But here's the thing, when the game's technically in its quote-unquote beta stage, why are you about to reinvent the whole netcode right at the start?